I now give the floor to Canada, followed by the Russian Federation and Romania.
Madam President, the catastrophic humanitarian situation in Gaza, where famine is occurring and where most of the population has been internally displaced, remain of deep concern to my country. Throughout this conflict, Canada has consistently called on both parties to respect their obligations under international humanitarian law and allow and facilitate the rapid and unimpeded passage of humanitarian aid. Canada also continues to support the central role of the United Nations, including UNRWA, in coordinating relief efforts and reiterates its grave concern regarding strikes on humanitarian personnel and facilities. Canada equally supports the International Court of Justice, a critical role in the peaceful settlement of dispute and its role in upholding the international rule-based order. And we emphasize that all states have an obligation to respect and ensure respect for their own international humanitarian law obligations. It is for these reasons that Canada voted in support of this resolution today. Madame la Présidente,
Madam President, since October 2023, Canada has been committed to transferring more than $400 million in international aid to deal with the current crisis. We are determined to support the ramping up of humanitarian aid, stabilization efforts, and recovery efforts after 2 years of devastating conflict. Canada continues to condemn the terrible terrorist attacks perpetrated by Hamas on the 7th of October 2023 that claimed the lives of more than 1,200 people, including Canadian nationals. Canada is determined to reach the objective of a two-state solution where Israelis and Palestinians are able to live side by side in peace and security. Canada applauds and unreservedly supports the ceasefire recently agreed on between Israel and Hamas, which constitutes the first phase of an overall peace plan. We express our profound gratitude to the United States, to Egypt, to Qatar, and to Turkey for their diplomatic efforts, their tireless diplomatic efforts that enabled us to reach this agreement. It is clear that we must also make the most of this momentum to increase humanitarian aid delivery to Gaza City and the whole of the Gaza Strip so that humanitarian aid can be delivered to those that need it. Canada stands ready to play its role and do its bit. Thank you.
I thank the distinguished representative of Canada. I now give the floor to the Russian Federation.
Madam President, the Russian Federation notes the growing practice of requesting advisory opinions from the International Court of Justice of the UN. The advisory opinion from the court about the obligations of Israel in relation to the presence and activities of the UN, other international organizations, and third states on occupied Palestinian territory demonstrates the ability of the chief judicial body in the UN system to provide authoritative legal guidance. In this regard, the Russian Federation supported today's draft resolution. We are convinced that amid what was established with the assistance of international mediators, the ceasefire regime in Gaza, that is, the adoption of this document sends the correct signal about the need to take appropriate action to rectify the humanitarian situation in the sector and ensure the smooth work of UN entities there. Having said this, we call upon all delegations to pragmatically approach the institution of advisory opinions. It is important to consider that they do not create, and in principle they cannot create, international legal obligations per se. This is a key tool for clarifying existing norms, fostering their uniform understanding and application. The provisions of today's resolution serve this goal in the specific context of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Separately, I wish to emphasize the staunch support by the Russian Federation to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees in the Near East. This entity remains the sole mechanism to which there is no alternative, which has a specialized mandate on one of the most sensitive issues, which is the plight of the Palestinian refugees. We note the fact that the document references the New York Declaration on the peaceful settlement of the Palestinian question and the implementation of the two-state solution. We are convinced that there's no alternative to a negotiated settlement to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, which will lead to the creation of an independent, unified, and viable state of Palestine within 1967 borders, living in peace and security with Israel. I thank you.
I thank the distinguished representative of the Russian Federation.